After winning $80 million in the lottery, Lucas immediately withdrew from the national online novel competition. His junior, Ethan, slapped him across the face when he found out, running away at the crucial moment. Do you even care about the teacher's guidance or the hopes of your friends? Could it be that there was a problem with your entry, and you're afraid the judges will find out? In his previous life, Ethan submitted an entry for the national online novel competition that was exactly the same as his. Lucas asked the editor, who had given him the novel inspiration, as well as the friends he had spent so much time with, to clarify things for him. But they issued an apology statement, begging the judges to give him a chance to reform considering his youth. The netizens were relentless, calling him a shameless plagiarist. Unable to prove his innocence, he was branded as a plagiarist. Not only was he expelled from school, but he also faced huge breach of contract compensation. His mother tried to fight for him, but was subjected to online abuse and fell ill. Overnight, one blow after another left him despondent. In his despair, he jumped off the rooftop, hoping to no longer be a burden to his family. But when he opened his eyes again, he had returned to the week before the competition. Chapter 1. Michael, I made your favorite ribs. Eat some before you write, okay? You haven't eaten all day. Sister Amelia made a gesture towards him, her face full of concern. Lucas was so shocked, he almost fell off his chair. Just then, Sophia pushed open the door. She handed him a box and said with a caring tone, I heard your shoulders have been bothering you lately. This massager might help you relax a bit. Scenes like this weren't new to him. In his past life, he thought he was the happiest person in the world. His sister Amelia, who was 5 years older than him, had always taken such good care of him. Sophia, his childhood friend, wasn't family but was closer than any family could be. But after being reborn, he felt cold inside. In his past life, during the national online novel competition, the piece he submitted was exactly the same as the one by his junior, Ethan. When the judges noticed, they took immediate action. As an author who had won multiple awards, he had been quite hopeful of winning first place. But when the truth came out, he was quickly pulled into the vortex of public opinion. He reached out to his editor's sister, who always provided him with inspiration, and to Sophia, his childhood friend, asking them to help clarify things. But to his surprise, they both refused. Sister Amelia, without consulting him, issued a public apology statement. She asked the competition organizers to give him a second chance since he was still young. Once the netizens found out, it was a disaster. No wonder someone would dare to plagiarize in such a big competition. Turns out they had an editor's sister covering for them. A whole family of scoundrels. Yeah, just a simple apology and everything's forgiven? Who do they think they're fooling? If an apology worked, why would we need the police? Still so young? Fine, but isn't he already over 18? If you want to be a giant baby, go home. Don't gross us out. Under the public pressure, the competition organizers rejected Amelia's request. In truth, he had joined this competition for the 300,000 yuan prize. His sister, who had fallen ill, had damaged her voice and could no longer speak. He wanted to win the prize money so he could take her for surgery to restore her vocal cords. But after the competition ended, not only did he not win the prize, he also incurred a huge penalty for breaching the contract. Meanwhile, Ethan, who had no writing experience, unexpectedly won first place. His entry was even awarded as one of the best short stories in recent years, was sold to a film company, and was soon to be adapted. And just like that, he became a sensation, a male god writer overnight. As for Lucas, he became the villain, the plagiarist everyone despised. The scandal over plagiarism was so damaging that he was expelled from school. To pay off the massive penalty, he, with no qualifications, had to work delivering food. But when customers recognized him, they deliberately left bad reviews, wasting all his hard work for the day. His mom, trying to help him get justice, ran around everywhere but was bombarded by malicious comments, fell ill overnight, and ended up in the ICU. To pay for her medical bills, he took a job on a construction site moving cement, but after just a few days, the foreman kicked him out, deducting all his wages. Then he received a call from the hospital. They told him that mom's condition was critical and that he should be prepared for the worst. With the final thread of hope snapped, he completely lost the will to live. One night, he climbed to the hospital rooftop and jumped. But when he opened his eyes again, he found himself back in the week before the writing competition. Seeing his sister and childhood friend, who were taking such good care of him, he suddenly felt so conflicted. Michael, this is the writing material I managed to get through internal channels. If you follow this, you'll definitely win first place, Amelia signed as she placed a file in front of him. Sophia, teasing him from the side, said, Michael, you have to win first place. I'm waiting for your prize money to treat us to a big meal. He knew she was joking, but he couldn't bring himself to laugh. Amelia was his sister. She wouldn't hurt him. Sophia, his childhood friend, though sharp-tongued, had always supported him. So it couldn't have been either of them. So where had things gone wrong? Back in elementary school, he had won first place in a children's writing competition. Later in university, he often published novels and magazines. His mentor always said that winning first place in any competition was a breeze for him. So, when the plagiarism scandal broke, he believed in him. Not to mention, his serialized novels had even been published and sold well. So there was no need for him to plagiarize Ethan. Just then, Ethan suddenly released screenshots of the timestamps of when he and Lucas had submitted their entries. The timestamp showed that he had submitted his an hour before Lucas's. Moreover, he had posted his writing ideas and outline on his social media a week before the competition. The online abuse against Lucas became overwhelming. Of course, Lucas plagiarized from Ethan. The evidence is clear. How dare he try to defend himself? I heard Lucas had already published books before. He must have plagiarized them too, just hasn't been caught yet. Good thing his sister and childhood friend had a conscience and didn't cover for him. Otherwise, the original author would have been wronged. Because the scandal became so heated, it quickly made it to the trending topics. The competition organizers also took it seriously and immediately began verifying Ethan's evidence. After verification, the evidence was all genuine with no signs of tampering. They concluded that Lucas had plagiarized from Ethan. Chapter 2. Lucas was stunned. That competition novel, he had clearly written it based on the inspiration and material his sister had given him. How did it turn into plagiarism? But he had no proof to clear his name. What he couldn't understand was why Ethan's entry was exactly the same as his. Had his sister given him the same material too? But right now, there was nothing unusual about Amelia's and Sophia's behavior. He could only start by investigating Ethan's social media. Looking at the timeline, Ethan must have shared his writing ideas and outline already. But with people constantly around him, he quickly jotted down a novel outline as a cover. Then he pretended to have a stomachache and asked to go to the bathroom. Sophia shot him a displeased look. You're such a troublemaker. Amelia already gave you the inspiration and material, and you still want to slack off? Amelia quickly gestured to smooth things over. There's still a week before the competition. Don't rush, Michael. There's plenty of time. As long as you follow my plan, you'll definitely win first place. But there wasn't much time left for him to uncover the truth. Once he was in the bathroom, he immediately locked the door, opened Ethan's social media account, and started browsing. He had heard that Ethan's father was a senior executive at a state-owned enterprise. His mother was a university professor, and because of his handsome looks, he had quite a few fans. But he wasn't close to him. However, Amelia's work did require her to interact with Ethan's mother, so they were likely acquainted. Once, he had seen her gesturing to Sophia, saying that Ethan was suave and refined, unlike him, a country bumpkin. She had even advised Sophia that when looking for a husband, she should aim for someone like Ethan, handsome and from a good family. At the time, he thought she was just joking, but looking back, he realized she had probably been serious. What confused him even more was why someone like Ethan, with such a high social status, would want to hurt him. Just then, he came across a recent post from Ethan. In it, he shared his writing inspiration and novel outline. Lucas froze. Wasn't this the same inspiration material Amelia had just given him? Even his novel outline was exactly the same as the one he had quickly written earlier. The comments section was full of praise from netizens. This unique novel structure is a first for me. The online literature world is finally saved. Yes, hurry up and write the novel. I have a feeling you'll definitely win first place. It was understandable that the inspiration might coincide, but why was his novel outline identical to his? The study room had only been visited by Amelia and Sophia. Could it have really been them? The thought sent a chill down his spine. But why would they do something like this? Could it be that the bond of family and the years they'd spent together meant less to them than their connection with Ethan, whom they'd only known briefly? He stayed in the bathroom for an hour, making a bold decision. In his past life, his competition piece was in the fantasy genre, which he was most comfortable with. Though he won first place, it was more of the same, nothing innovative. This time, he decided to switch to writing suspense and mystery. Since he had been accused of plagiarism in his past life, he would rewrite a new piece. No matter what the outcome was, at least he could clear his name and shed the accusation of plagiarism. That was enough. Because of the sudden change in genre, he couldn't sleep that night. Early the next morning, he secretly left the house and went to his mentor's home. His mentor was his first teacher and the one who had encouraged him to pursue writing. He had high expectations for him in this competition. When he saw him, his mentor immediately smiled brightly and handed him a steaming meat bun. "Michael, you haven't had breakfast yet, have you?" Noticing that he seemed troubled, he quickly asked, "Is something wrong? Tell me what's bothering you." He forced a smile and said, "Teacher, if I don't win first place in this competition, will you be disappointed?" His mentor smiled and ruffled his hair. "It doesn't matter if you don't win first place. I know your abilities. You can try again next time. As long as you're happy, that's the most important thing." Hearing his words, he suddenly felt more resolute. After leaving his mentor's home, he received a message. "Where did you go? Sophia brought you breakfast but didn't find you. She's getting upset." He replied, "I went out to buy some writing materials. I'll be back soon." He decided not to use the inspiration and materials Amelia had given him. He hadn't told them about changing the genre for his entry. After all, they were the prime suspects. Chapter 3. He decided to go to the school library to rework his competition entry. He stayed there until nightfall, finally finishing the novel outline. Stretching, he planned to take a break and check if there was any activity from Ethan. To his surprise, Amelia and Sophia showed up. He was puzzled. How did they know he was here? Without a word, Amelia placed a steaming lunchbox on the table and gestured, "I thought you'd be too caught up in writing, so I brought you some food." Sophia handed him a thermos. "I boiled this chicken soup for you this afternoon. You need to replenish your energy." They both looked so sincere. It didn't seem like they would ever harm him. Could it be that he had overthought things? But if it wasn't them, then who could it be? His mind was in turmoil, but he forced a smile and said, "You two came at the right time. I'm starving. Let me wash my hands and I'll eat." With that, he grabbed his phone and headed to the restroom. Instead of going into the men's bathroom, he stood by the sink and opened Ethan's social media account. As expected, he had posted something new. How can there be such shameless people? I kindly shared my inspiration and outline, and someone just took it without asking. How is that any different from stealing? Looks like I'll have to rewrite everything. The accompanying image was of a male student's back in the library. Anyone familiar with him would immediately recognize that it was his back. But who had taken the photo? The comments were filled with fans expressing concern for Ethan, wondering if rewriting the entire novel in such a short time would be possible. Ethan responded, saying he planned to write a suspense thriller and had already finished his outline. He froze for a moment. He had never told anyone about changing his genre. Why did their topics still coincide? There had to be someone spying on him. Was it Amelia or Sophia? But why were they doing this? Just then, he felt a tap on his shoulder. "Michael, what are you spacing out for?" He jumped, realizing it was Amelia and Sophia who had come to check on him because he hadn't returned. Still startled, he tried to avoid their gaze. "Sis, why don't you two go ahead? I'll eat later." He wasn't sure if they had seen him browsing Ethan's posts. Before he could say anything more, Sophia snapped, "Michael, after Amelia and I went out of our way to bring you food, is this how you're going to treat us? Don't think I don't know. You've been keeping your guard up against us these days. You've really lost all sense of conscience." Amelia quickly gestured to calm Sophia down. "Sophia has a sharp tongue, but a heart of gold. We were just worried you'd overwork yourself, that's all." He quickly responded, "Sis, I understand. Don't worry about me. If it gets too overwhelming, I can stay in the dorm for a few days, so you two don't have to stress." Sophia scoffed, "Do whatever you want. I don't care." With that, she dragged Amelia out of the study room. He sighed in relief. At 10:30 p.m., he packed up and headed back to the dorm. As soon as he walked in, he overheard his roommate Alex talking about Ethan. Curious, he leaned in and saw that they were discussing Ethan's latest WeChat Moments post. It was a photo of 3 hands holding cans of cola in a toast. The caption, "Thanks to the beautiful ladies for the feeding." He immediately recognized the hands in the picture. They were Amelia's and Sophia's. When had they become so familiar with Ethan? The post had 2 comments below. Sophia, Ethan will always be my heartthrob. Don't worry, Ethan. I'll make sure you win first place. He blinked, doubting his own eyes. But when he refreshed the page, the comments were gone. It was clear now. This plagiarism scandal was definitely tied to them. He wasn't surprised to reach this conclusion. Thankfully, since he was staying in the dorm, no matter what they tried, they were too far away to interfere. He could finally focus on his writing with peace of mind. But just as he was about to sleep, he saw his roommate Alex sneaking around, flipping through his notebook. He instantly woke up, anger flaring as he shouted, "Alex, what do you think you're doing?" Chapter 4. Alex flinched, his hand trembling as he dropped the notebook on the floor. "Why are you shouting? Don't think I don't know. The person who plagiarized my cousin's work is you. How unlucky, having to share a dorm with a plagiarist. I didn't even make you leave, and you're still making a scene like this. So rude." It turned out that Alex, his roommate, was actually Ethan's cousin. He had deliberately posted his personal information in the comments section of Ethan's post. Soon, his private messages were flooded with vulgar insults. Some people even went as far as to pour dirt on his bed and put dead cockroaches in his water bottle. Feeling helpless, he reached out to his mentor. In his past life, when he was wronged, his mentor was the one who tried his best to clear his name. Although he had failed back then, he was still the only person Lucas trusted now. When his mentor heard about his situation, he immediately gave him the keys to his small apartment. "Focus on the competition," he told him. "Don't worry about anything else. After the contest, we'll deal with everything." Finally, just before the competition ended, he completed his novel. Now all he needed to do was submit the document. Just then, Ethan's social media account updated again. "My entry has been submitted. Thanks to everyone for their support during this time." The post included a screenshot of his document. Though blurred, he could still make out the first few lines of text. It was identical to the novel he had just finished writing. The post was even published 10 minutes earlier than when he finished his. He completely lost it and smashed his notebook to pieces. Had he been reincarnated, yet still couldn't escape his past fate? Suddenly, he just wanted to give up. At that moment, a notification popped up on his phone. The lottery ticket he had bought a few days ago had won 80 million. He was so excited he almost jumped up. His family's financial situation wasn't great. He paid for his university tuition with writing fees and student loans. If it weren't for that 300,000 yuan prize, he wouldn't even have entered this competition. Now that he had money, he didn't care about the outcome of this contest anymore. A new plan formed in his mind, one where Ethan would pay the price for his shamelessness. He didn't tell anyone about his lottery win. Instead, he revised his competition entry and submitted it again. Ethan liked to plagiarize. Fine, he'd let him plagiarize to his heart's content. As soon as the competition ended, Ethan eagerly went live to share his competition experience. The chat room exploded. "Streamer, you're so confident. You're definitely going to make the top 3. Right before Ethan could even speak, Sophia replied in the chat, "What top 3? Ethan is definitely going to win first. I have faith in him." The chat room erupted with excitement, all congratulating Ethan. But just as Ethan was basking in the praise, his face suddenly changed. The viewers were confused, and then out of nowhere, a few police officers appeared in the live stream. They handcuffed Ethan and said coldly, "We've received a report that you're involved in illegal activities. Please come with us." Even through the screen, the authority in their voices was palpable. Ethan's face went pale, and his expression turned frantic. But what shocked him more was that the number of viewers in the live stream kept rising. The chat room exploded with comments. "What's going on? Isn't he supposed to be the rich, charming writer? How could he be involved in that? Yeah, he's so young, still a university student. Could they have made a mistake? It's definitely someone trying to sabotage him out of jealousy." He knew why Ethan was so panicked because he had a guilty conscience. After finding out about his lottery win, he disguised himself and went to claim the prize. Seeing the amount in his bank account, he felt a huge weight lift off his shoulders. The fear of being controlled by money had vanished. With it, his intelligence seemed to have sharpened. He began to think back on everything he knew about Ethan. His father worked at a state-owned enterprise, and his mother was a university professor. This part was true, but even with those positions, their salaries couldn't possibly support Ethan's extravagant lifestyle. Ethan wore custom clothes worth tens of thousands, had a limited edition watch worth millions, and even his phone case was from a luxury brand. On top of that, he traveled abroad regularly. This made him suspicious. What was he hiding? So he paid a high commission to hire a private detective to investigate him. It didn't take long before the detective uncovered something shocking. It turned out Ethan was a tour companion. He was a male university student who accompanied wealthy women on trips. As long as he went on a weekend getaway with one of these women, he would receive a hefty tip. It was this tip money that supported his nearly $1 million monthly expenses. However, simply exposing this wouldn't be enough to satisfy him. So he set a trap. Since Ethan liked to plagiarize his novels, he would use his own methods against him. He would make him publicly admit his plagiarism and the dirty deeds he'd done. He still used the suspense thriller novel he had written for the competition, but deliberately made sure Ethan would copy it. What Ethan didn't know was that he had altered the final clue in the story. Anyone with a little intelligence could easily figure out the ending, and the ending was Ethan's own downfall. Chapter 5. However, he wasn't worried that Ethan would figure it out. After all, he wasn't very smart. He wanted Ethan to publicly confess his dirty deeds in this national competition. He wanted Amelia and Sophia to see the true face of their perfect idol. As Ethan was about to be taken away by the police, he suddenly screamed at the live stream, "I've been wronged. The real person who did those things is my senior Lucas. He plagiarized my competition entry, and now he's turning it around and slandering me." The live stream fans quickly chimed in, and even Sophia sent a message supporting Ethan. Ethan's father is a high-level executive at a state-owned enterprise, and his mother is a university professor. How could he possibly do such a disgusting thing? It must be Lucas who is jealous of Ethan. That's why he framed and slandered him. Police officers, you can't listen to him. He wasn't surprised by Sophia's words. After all, she had done the same in his past life. But unexpectedly, just at that moment, Amelia entered the live stream. As soon as she entered, she started posting non-stop. It must be someone deliberately setting Ethan up. He's such a good person. How could he do something like that? I'm willing to vouch for Ethan's character and career. If you don't believe me, I can go live and confront Lucas directly. Sophia quickly joined in. Amelia, I'll go with you. Looking at their comments, he couldn't help but laugh. He was living in his mentor's small apartment, and they had no idea where it was. How could they confront him? But unexpectedly, less than 10 minutes later, the door to his apartment was kicked open. As soon as the door swung wide, Amelia rushed in and grabbed his collar, shouting, "Lucas, it's you, right? You're jealous because Ethan and I are so close, so you're deliberately getting back at us, right?" Sophia followed up and slapped him across the face. "Don't ask. It's definitely him. He's been sneaky ever since the week before the competition. I know he's been stealing the materials and outline Ethan shared on social media, trying to use them as his own." Vincent didn't say anything, and yet he's accusing Vincent now. What a shameless person. They questioned him while live streaming with their phones. He looked at the two of them coldly, as if he was meeting them for the first time. In his previous life, he had been foolish enough to think he could win the prize and help Amelia with her voice surgery. Turns out, she had been faking it all along, just to manipulate him into entering this competition and falling into their trap. He slapped one of them back and coldly said, "Amelia, so you can speak after all? You've been holding back all this time, just to trick me into your scheme, huh?" Amelia froze, unable to respond to his retort. He then turned to Sophia and asked, "You claim I plagiarized Ethan's entry. Do you have any evidence?" Spreading rumors without evidence can lead to legal consequences. Sophia arrogantly raised her chin and confidently declared, "I'm not spreading rumors. Your competition entry is exactly the same as Ethan's. You didn't apologize and instead hit me, even slandering Ethan. How shameless can you be?" He sneered, "Are you sure I plagiarized Ethan? If you're wrong, you'll have to kneel and apologize." Sophia scoffed, "I'm sure you plagiarized, and the evidence is the entry you submitted. Your entry is identical to Ethan's." He laughed coldly. "Oh, really? How do you know what entry I submitted? Are you the judge of the competition? I didn't know that. Or maybe you've been secretly spying on me, so you know exactly what I wrote." Upon hearing this, Sophia's face turned pale. She stammered, realizing she had made a mistake but stubbornly stuck to her ground, repeating her earlier accusations. She insisted that his competition entry was plagiarized from Ethan. Seeing that she was too stubborn to back down, he dialed the competition organizer's number in front of the hundreds of thousands of live stream viewers. The organizers verified that he had never participated in the competition, so there was no question of plagiarism. Sophia was stunned. How is this possible? You clearly submitted an entry. Lucas, what kind of tricks did you pull off? He looked at her coldly, starting to suspect that everything Sophia had done for him over the years had been a lie. He had always suspected that Amelia and Sophia might have been monitoring him in some way, but hadn't been sure until now. So when he submitted his entry, he intentionally disconnected the internet at the last moment. Meaning, even though he had tried to submit his entry, it didn't actually go through because he had cut off the connection. But those spying on him didn't know that, so they assumed he had submitted it. At first, he planned to withdraw from the competition altogether. But then he realized that if he did that, Amelia and Sophia might figure it out and come up with another way to deal with him, ruining his plans. So he decided to play along and turn the tables on them. After learning that he hadn't participated in the competition at all, Amelia and Sophia's faces went pale. Then, he displayed the novel Ethan had plagiarized from him in the live stream and revealed the final twist. The twist was that Ethan would have to publicly admit his plagiarism and his dirty deeds. When the twist was revealed, the live stream exploded. Chapter 6. The barrage of comments in the live stream was overwhelming. I can't believe the handsome and charming idol writer is involved in something like this. Didn't they say his mother is a university professor? How can a university professor raise such a son? He clearly plagiarized someone else's work, but now he's accusing others. And that girl helping him is no better. She's not even his sister, yet she's helping an opponent sabotage her own brother. Is this really a blood sister? I saw this plagiarism scandal a couple of days ago. This Ethan guy, who's clearly a fake intellectual, even had his cousin cyberbullying people. He's shameless. People like him, who slander others and invade their privacy, should be behind bars. Amelia, upon realizing he hadn't even participated in the competition, looked completely stunned. Lucas, why didn't you tell me you weren't participating? While I've been working so hard for you. You must have been enjoying yourself, huh? Sophia jumped in to add fuel to the fire. Exactly, Lucas. You're so cruel. I even went out of my way to cook you chicken soup to help you recover, and I thought you were struggling with the competition. I must have been blind. He sneered. Amelia, stop with the moral high ground. Didn't you hide the fact that you could speak? How are you any more noble than me? Besides, whether I participate in the competition or not is my business. Why should I inform you? As for whether you genuinely care about me or about Ethan, you both know it in your hearts. Your so-called concern was just to monitor my every move and make sure I'd play into Ethan's hands. Caught off guard by his words, Amelia became visibly agitated. Even if that's the case, you shouldn't have slandered Ethan like that. A man's reputation is incredibly important. You should know that better than anyone. Aren't you afraid I'll sue you for defaming Ethan? Ethan, watching Amelia's live stream, was tearing up. Amelia, I've really been wronged. Lucas is the one slandering me. You must help me get justice. Then Ethan began pleading with the police officers. You can't just listen to Lucas's side of the story. Everything has to be based on evidence. It's Lucas who's slandering me. He's the one you should be arresting. Why aren't you arresting him? Is it because he's given you some benefit? The police officer frowned and spoke coldly. Watch your words. You can't just say things recklessly. We're here to arrest you because we have evidence. We haven't made it public yet because we wanted to give you some face. But if you don't care about that, then fine. As soon as he finished speaking, Ethan's face drained of color. In this second life, as Lucas recalled everything about Ethan, he found him to be truly malicious. But once he had the evidence on him, he realized not only was Ethan malicious, but also utterly stupid. His dirty deeds, which should have been hidden, were something he took pride in. He thought this society mocked poverty, but excused immorality, so he didn't even try to hide from people. Meanwhile, those who admired Ethan saw him as a genuine rich and handsome young man, never doubting anything. So when Lucas hired someone to investigate, it didn't take much effort at all. Once he had all the evidence, he immediately submitted it to the police. Without these pieces of evidence, how could the police have made an arrest? It was something anyone could have guessed, but Ethan never saw it coming. In front of hundreds of thousands of viewers, he effectively exposed himself. Since he was so eager to self-incriminate, Lucas didn't need to stop him. When the police released the details of his crimes during the live stream, Ethan's face went from pale to green and back to pale again. He couldn't hold back anymore and begged the police to shut down the stream and take him away. Seeing Ethan being taken away in Amelia's live stream gave Lucas immense satisfaction. In his previous life, Ethan had made him take the fall for his actions. This time, he gave it all back to him. Once Ethan's live stream ended, the audience, still hungry for gossip, quickly moved over to Amelia's stream. Upon seeing Lucas on screen, they immediately began to shower him with praise. "You're the one who has won so many awards and even published books, right? You're so humble." Exactly. Only a writer with real intelligence would come up with such a smart way to expose the person who slandered him. Clean and efficient. "I'm a fan now." "Wait, that girl who was defending the plagiarist? She's really your sister? Why would a real sister help another guy like that? Are you sure she's your real sister? A sister like that, I think you should just cut ties with her. Not only that, the childhood friend who was helping that fake intellectual slander you. Man, you've really had bad luck, surrounded by trash like that." Seeing Ethan being taken away, Amelia and Sophia were already frantic. But they were reluctant to leave the live stream with so much good traffic. Now, seeing that they were the new targets of the audience's ridicule, they had no choice but to end the stream. With dark faces, they shot Lucas a furious glare before rushing off to the police station to check on Ethan. As Lucas watched the transformation of public opinion, he couldn't help but remember the scene from his past life, when he was the one being cyberbullied. Chapter 7. In his previous life, after Ethan accused him of plagiarism, his popularity skyrocketed, but in that life, it was a case of becoming infamous and enduring cyberbullying. This time, though, it was real fame and praise. But he couldn't bring himself to feel happy. The public's preferences were always so superficial and direct. They never cared about the truth, they just followed the crowd. This very fact had ruined his life in the past, but had also become the fuel for his revenge in this life. However, the comments in the live stream indirectly reminded him of something. Sophia wanted to climb up the social ladder, groveling to Ethan. But what about Amelia? Why did she want to harm him too? Could it be that she really wasn't his real sister? He thought about it for a moment, then immediately rushed home. Before Amelia returned, he secretly took a strand of her hair and went to have a paternity test done. Things were starting to get more complicated. But it wasn't until Ethan was arrested that he found out how exactly he had plagiarized him. At first, he thought Ethan had installed surveillance cameras in his house through Amelia and Sophia, or maybe he had put a spying virus on his laptop. But after he moved into his mentor's small apartment and had his laptop thoroughly checked, there was no sign of anything suspicious. He was frustrated. Fortunately, his mentor's father was a retired police officer. He told him about the situation. The old man furrowed his brow for a moment. Then his gaze fell on Lucas's glasses. He asked if he could let him take a look at them. Without hesitation, Lucas took off his glasses and handed them to him. The old man inspected them with a magnifying glass for a while. Then suddenly his eyes lit up in realization. Just as I thought. Lucas was confused, not understanding what he was talking about. The old man handed him the magnifying glass and told him to carefully examine the screw on the front of the glasses. To his shock, right in the middle of the screw, there was a hidden pinhole camera. It was so tiny and well hidden that if you didn't look closely, you wouldn't notice it at all. He was frozen in place. He suddenly remembered that about a month ago, when he was preparing to register for the competition, Amelia had accidentally broken his glasses. She apologized and replaced the frame with a new one. Since the new frame looked good, he wasn't angry. He never expected that she had tampered with the glasses. No wonder she always seemed to know exactly where he was. His mentor's father explained that this kind of pinhole camera was extremely precise and rarely seen on the market. If someone used it, they would have to report it to the police. He suspected that Amelia had been involved in something that harmed national interests. The thought sent a chill down his spine. He suddenly remembered that Amelia had studied programming, yet ended up working as an editor at a publishing house. And editors at publishing houses often dealt with professors from prestigious universities. Could it be that she was involved in something much larger than he realized? Without wasting time, he took the camera off the glasses and handed it to his mentor's father, asking him to report it to the police. With this camera in hand, he now had the proof of Ethan plagiarizing him. In his previous life, he had been falsely accused of plagiarism and slapped with a huge fine for breaking the competition rules. This time, there was no way he was going to let Ethan off the hook. He wanted to see how he would wriggle his way out of it once the truth came to light. And as for Amelia and Sophia, the accomplices, there was no way he would let them off either. He wrote up a report about his suspicions regarding Amelia's true identity and submitted it to the authorities. Amelia had hidden her true identity, afraid of being exposed. Well, he was going to expose her hidden identity and let her taste the consequences. Once everything was in motion, he moved out of his house and into the small villa he had purchased with his lottery winnings. The 80 million yuan prize gave him the confidence to do anything he wanted. Mainly, he just didn't want to deal with Amelia's despicable questioning or Sophia's betrayal any longer. After finishing all of this, he blocked Amelia and Sophia's contacts, then signed up for a national travel group to finally relax. Since it was summer and school was on break, it seemed like the perfect time to take a vacation. Besides, his experiences in the past life had kept him on edge for too long, and he desperately needed a break. After traveling for a month, he returned to the villa with a bunch of local specialties. Just as he was about to send some to his mentor, he unexpectedly ran into Amelia outside the community. If he hadn't spent so many years living with her, he might have barely recognized her. She had lost so much weight and looked so haggard. Her hair was a mess and her eyes were bloodshot. Before he could even call security, she grabbed him and pulled him into a car. Chapter 8. She gripped his shoulders tightly and demanded, "Lucas, why did you move out? Do you know how worried I've been about you?" He rolled his eyes, speechless, and retorted, "I think you're more worried about not finding me so you can help Ethan cover up, right?" Amelia was taken aback for a moment. Then her tone softened. "Lucas, I know I've lied to you about being able to speak, and I understand why you're angry. But I'm your real sister. I truly care about you, and that's why I'm looking for you. How can you think so poorly of me?" He sighed. "If that's the case, then now that you see I'm fine, can you let me go?" As he started to open the car door to leave, Amelia grabbed him again. She looked hesitant, so he grew impatient. "Spit it out quickly. I've got things to do. No time to waste with you." Amelia sighed and tentatively asked, "Lucas, could you help Ethan? He's the son of an important client of mine. This situation has ruined his reputation, and he nearly fell into depression. Can't you help him out just for my sake?" He responded with irritation, "I'm not even close to him. How am I supposed to help?" Amelia's eyes lit up. "Just tell them that Ethan's submission was actually written by you, and that you accidentally submitted it using his account as a joke. That way, Ethan can be cleared of all charges." He scoffed. "Amelia, are you sure you want to say that?" Amelia nodded eagerly, her face full of hope. He was beyond angry. "Now, Amelia, do you even know what you're asking? If I say that, it would be false reporting, and that's a crime. False reporting gets you thrown in jail. Do you really want to put me in that position?" Amelia's face darkened. "Lucas, don't think I don't know you've won 80 million from the lottery, so you have everything now. You can't even help Ethan just once. You participated in the competition for your sister, so why can't you help Ethan for my sake?" He stared at her, smiling. "You said it yourself, help me for your sister's sake. But are you really my sister?" As soon as he said this, Amelia's expression shifted and her eyes avoided his. "Lucas, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you mean." The paternity test results came back, but he wasn't at all surprised. It felt like he had already predicted this outcome. Amelia wasn't his real sister. Which real sister would go so far as to ruin her brother's life for someone else? Once the results were in, he immediately started looking into his true identity. To his shock, this investigation uncovered an old family secret. It turned out Ethan was actually Amelia's real brother, and he was the real son of the Wong family. Back then, his mother and Amelia's mother had both been in the same hospital giving birth. The Song family was poor, while the Wong family was well off. Amelia, who had a strong attachment to her brother, had secretly swapped him with Ethan so that her brother could have a better life. And so, Ethan and he had switched fates. But genetics are incredibly powerful. He inherited his mother's intelligence and his father's emotional intelligence, so he excelled in school from a young age. Relatives often remarked that he didn't resemble the Song family at all. He thought it was just a joke, but it turned out to be true. Seeing that he now knew the truth, Amelia's face suddenly turned cold, and she instinctively reached for a knife nearby. He sneered, "Sister, are you planning to kill me to silence me? Is Ethan really worth going this far for?" He then played the audio recording he had secretly planted on Ethan. "That Amelia is so annoying, a mute. She really thinks that just because I call her sister, she's my sister?" Dream on. And Sophia, she's no better than Amelia, just another simp. That Amelia disgusts me. I hope she doesn't have any unrealistic ideas about me. She's too old for that. If it wasn't for the fact that she could help me win first place in the competition, I wouldn't even bother with her. These boundary-less women are so irritating. They have no money, yet they act like they're high and mighty. They have no idea what they're really worth. Does she even deserve it? Hearing the recording, Amelia pushed him down, then drove off in a huff. He guessed she was probably going to confront Ethan. Not long after, the news came in, but it wasn't what he expected. It was Amelia's death. After hearing the recording, Amelia, holding on to a sliver of hope, went to find Ethan. She told him about their true sibling relationship, hoping to reconcile. But to her shock, Ethan refused to accept it. In a fit of rage, he pushed Amelia off the rooftop. A tragic fall ended with Amelia landing directly on Sophia below. Both of them died instantly. Ethan was sentenced to life imprisonment. Truly a case of fate taking its course. When he heard the news, he was stunned. But he never thought of reconnecting with his biological parents. If things were meant to go wrong, then let them stay that way. All he wanted was to live a carefree life, enjoying the several million in his bank account.